I'm Danielle Davis, and I wrote this picture book to make, and the art is by Mags DeRoma. Because To Make celebrates and inspires creativity, I thought it would be really neat to share with you the creative process and the behind the scenes of how this book came to be. I will share how I made the words, and Mags DeRoma will share how she made the pictures. There are 3 things that I wanted to say with this story to myself, to anyone who reads it, and to you. The first one is, you are a maker. So here's how to make anything. This can be a guide and a companion for you. The second thing is that the creative process is full of joy. It also can be full of challenge. It might be full of feeling frustrated or lost, and it can be full of waiting. So you are not alone in that. And the third thing I wanted to say, which is the most important, is keep making. Keep going. Whatever it is that you are making is wonderful, and one day you're going to get to share it in some special way. Keep making. Keep making, keep making. A while ago, I was cleaning out the notebooks that I store under my bed because anyone who is a writer or journaler or keeps sketchbooks knows that you can collect quite an archive of them. So I was going through them to see if there were any I could part with. And I saw this notebook, and it was unfamiliar. And so I opened it, of course, to find out what's in here. And there it was. To make. So this is the very first iteration of the story here in this notebook. And it starts to make a cake in my scribbly handwriting, and then I have a doodle of a cake. And this is still the opening of the book. Only now it has Mags DeRoma's beautiful illustrations that have brought it to life. And so it continues to make a cake. And then I have all these notes, and I've scratched things out, and eventually I landed on gather, make, wait. And so gather, make, wait as the steps became the building blocks of this story, the rhythm of it. And that's because I think those steps are the building blocks and the rhythm of any creative process that we undertake over and over again. Gather, make, wait. Right here it says, keep making. Keep waiting. And I knew then that that was the heart of this story. That is the theme of it. That is what I wanted to share. I remember telling my partner about this story on a long drive, and I also remember that I shared it with one dear friend. But after that, I didn't know what to do with it. In fact, I didn't know what to do with any of my picture book manuscripts that I'd been writing because I didn't have a path forward. For a couple of years, on and off, I really thought about giving up. But I didn't give up. I kept making. And the reason for that is because for me, making and writing are like the light streaming through the window in the morning. That is what wakes me up, right? It gets me up. It gets me moving. It inspires me. It gives me energy. That is what connects me to myself, to my feelings, my ideas, my values. Writing and making connects me to the world. It connects me to other people. And so I kept making, and I kept waiting. And a couple of years later, I met Mags DeRoma, who is an artist who also lives in Los Angeles. And I really admired her work, and I really admired her art. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to take a risk and do something that is unusual and unconventional in our world of children's books. And so over dinner one night, I told her about 2 different stories, and she liked this one, To Make. And I sent her the manuscript, and she was drawn to it, much to my delight and gratefulness. And so she made sketches. And so then with the words and some of the pictures completed, we went out with it and submitted it. And again, this is very unconventional in children's books, but that became the path. Mags's illustrations are textured, they are tender, they are totally exquisite, and they also embody the creative process, the way that they develop over the course of the book.
Hi, I'm Mags DeRoma and I am the illustrator of To Make. So I am in my studio. I work out of this room in my house and have a lot of things that I've collected along the way, a lot of art materials. I have a nice habit of just collecting anything that makes a mark. And I have that all kind of arranged in here so that I can access it at any time. So Danielle and I went to sushi one night to just talk picture books and life, and we got to talking about our mutual love and admiration for Gyo Fujikawa, who is a huge influence on my work. We were talking about all kinds of different picture book things that we're both so excited about, projects, and Danielle mentioned a book that she had written, a manuscript, that was about making. And the minute I read it, I just felt so, I'm gonna get choked up. I felt so seen as a creator. It was just such a beautiful and soft, gentle, poetic nod to the process. And I just absolutely loved it. And so immediately was brainstorming and coming up with ideas. And I always know that that's a mark of I should work on this project. So this is a little tour of my drawer of chaos. This is a lot of the art supplies for To Make. There's all kinds of inks and different kinds of glue. I love black winged pencils. It's my absolute favorite pencil in the whole world. Sometimes I'll use just like different tools to make different marks. I will use a million different kinds of brushes. I really love these soft pastel pencils. Yeah, drawer of chaos, or fun. One of the things that I wanted to put into the book was a little bit of my process of art making. One of the main sort of meta ideas that went into the making of the illustrations is that I wanted the book to sort of go from the gather moment and all the way through the make and the wait moment. So in the beginning of the book, you'll see that all of the images are rendered in pencil, like a little light wash of color. There's a little tinge of like a warm white, and it's all made in pencils, kind of sketchy at the beginning. And then as the book progresses, there is a little bit of color injected in each vignette. So each vignette kind of has its own addition to the color cacophony, if you will, the symphony. And by the end of the book, there's cut paper in there. There's some like different sort of multimedia or mixed media rather, collage elements that all come together to form this big, colorful, huge expression and celebration of everyone's unique style of making at the end of the book. That was like one of the hardest parts of working on it, but also one of the coolest parts was to make that come to life. And it's subtle, and I think that I hope that makes kids want to read it over and over again and look for all of the little keys and the little breadcrumbs along the way. And then the other thing that we wanted to bring to this book that was inspired by Gyo was the addition of fairies and gnomes and little magical creatures. Often people can describe the muse as, sort of like magic or, something otherworldly. All of those little magical creatures kind of help to serve that function in this book. There will be a little gnome or a little fairy kind of helping a kid out throughout the process of gathering, making, and waiting. And we just loved that branching out into something a little bit more magical, a little bit more fantastical.
I am beyond thrilled to share To Make with you, in part because I wrote my very first picture book manuscript over 15 years ago. And in that time, I kept making and I kept waiting. And so, yes, there was challenge in that, right? There was patience in that. I felt lost. I felt frustrated at times. But I also found the creative process to be full of joy. And I learned so much and grew as a person and a writer, and I discovered so much. I am filled with joy that we get to share this book with you. Keep making. Keep making.